In fact, what the Quran did is made our spiritual identity even stronger than our ethnic identity. Because the ethnic identity doesn't matter when all the Ummiyeen come and sit in the same Jumu'ah. That became second. You're Muslim first. You're sitting here, you're Pakistani second, you're German second, you're Albanian second, you're Turkish second, you're Indian second. All of that is second. First thing you are is Muslim. Assalamu alaikum. Before you begin this video, just quickly wanted to let you know that so much of the work on the Quran has been completed on Bayyinah TV. I want you to enjoy systematically studying the Quran from the beginning all the way to the end in brief and then in great detail. And to do that, I'd like for you to sign up on BayyinahTV.com. And once you appreciate what's going on in Bayyinah TV, I want you to become an ambassador for it and share that subscription with friends and family and give it as a gift also. Thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي فالحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. The secularism is understood differently in different societies. European secularism is very different from American secularism. In fact, American secularism is also different from Canadian secularism. In some societies, secularism means we don't want to see religion anywhere outside your home. We don't want to see it in the office. We don't want to see it in the schools. We don't want to see it in public anywhere. They might even have a problem with a woman wearing a certain thing or a man having a beard or something like that and say that's too much religion. We don't want to see that even on the street, right? No manifestation of that's their definition of secularism. Some nations in Europe have those kinds of definitions of secularism. There's almost a fear that religion, if it shows up in the public space, will eventually start controlling society and our freedoms will be taken away. So there is that kind of secularism in some countries in Europe, and it comes from a history. There is a history of religion oppressing its population, and anybody who doesn't conform to that religion will be suppressed and will be oppressed. And Europe fought hard against religious oppression to gain its freedom. And that's part of the, that's part of the identity of, and the historical identity of this continent. The American secularism is very different. The American secularism is, you want to have a church? Have a church. You want to have an atheist church? Have an atheist church. You want to have a devil-worshipping mall? Do it. You want to have a mosque? Do it. You want to do the adhan on the microphone outside? Do it. No problem. Do whatever you do. Whatever religion you want to follow. You want to follow no religions? You want to follow 8 religions? It's all good. Do what you want to make a new church? Do it. You want to make a new Islam? Do it. Any religion is free and open. Complete, absolute freedom of religion. Absolute freedom of religion. Just one thing. Their definition is don't let one religion dictate how other people should live. Religions have the freedom to express themselves. They have the freedom to declare themselves. You are free to express any religious. You can dress however you want. You can look however. There's guidelines on minimum clothing, but there's no guidelines on maximum clothing. You understand? Nobody can be told you're wearing too much. Of course, discrimination happens, but it happens not at the legal level. It happens at a cultural level. You understand? Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is the concept of secularism where religion is reduced to your personal life, right? What does the Quran do with that? The Quran essentially says, yes, there's a time for the prayer. Like secular definition says, prayer belongs in the church, prayer belongs in the mosque, or prayer belongs inside your home. Actually, in some countries, prayer can't even happen in your home. If we find out you were praying in your home, you're getting arrested. That exists in the world too, right? And some people are so scared of even Muslims. If we find out you were praying, we're going to have a problem, right? That much control and that much restriction. However, one of the things we learn from this ayah is our prayer inspires our behavior outside. And it impacts all of our behaviors. our business dealings, our family dealings, our personal dealings, because the prayer is dhikr of Allah. The definition of prayer here is فَاسْعَوْا إِلَىٰ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. And when you leave and you pursue Allah's favor in the secular realm, in education, in business, in family, in work, in public space, in government, etc., then you are inspired by the ethics and the spiritual moral code that came from the dhikr of Allah, that's still alive as you're practicing. وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. Remember Allah a lot. لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. So that you may succeed. We're not separating them. We're not saying, oh, and that doesn't mean that when I go into the office, I start preaching. But it does mean that the code that I believe in, the dhikr that Allah has given me, that impacts the way I conduct myself in the office. That also impacts if I'm going to be part of a business deal or not part of a business deal. That also impacts whether or not I'm going to the Christmas party or the after party or this invitation or that. It's going to impact that behavior, isn't it? And I'm well within my rights as someone inspired by Allah Azza wa Jal through this mechanism of يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِهِ وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ. I will not hide who I am. That's a part of my identity. In fact, what the Quran did is made our spiritual identity even stronger than our ethnic identity. Because the ethnic identity doesn't matter when all the Ummiyeen come and sit in the same Jumu'ah. That became second. You're Muslim first. You're sitting here, you're Pakistani second, you're German second, you're Albanian second, you're Turkish second, you're Indian second. All of that is second. First thing you are is Muslim. It's a core part of you. And the thing that we often haven't really dealt with is that your religious identity does not contradict your ethnic identity, and it does not contradict your national identity. Me being Muslim doesn't make me any less American or any less Pakistani. I'm both. I'm very American and I'm very Pakistani. I'm ethnically Pakistani. Country-wise, my citizenship is the United States. And I love the United States. It's my country. And I want the best for that country. I'm loyal to that country. Somebody might say, Astaghfirullah, you're loyal to... Yeah, I am. Yusuf alayhi salam was loyal to Egypt. He wanted the best for what's in Egypt. And Egypt was pagan at the time. Entirely. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was loyal to Makkah. Completely loyal to Makkah. All the time when what was there? The idols. All the idols are in the haram. And he's loyal to... Nuh alayhi salam was loyal to his people. The vast majority of his people are what? Mushrikun. Does that change his loyalties? No. Where you're from, your own people, your own, or the people that have the place that provides you an education, the place that provides you an ability to make your rizq, Allah used them as a means, just like your mother and your father nourished you and nurtured you. A country also provides you a place, a job, an education, opportunity, safety, security, doesn't it? Are we not beneficiaries of these things? Then should we not want what is best for these places? Yeah. But does that mean that we endorse everything that these countries do? No. No. In fact, the most loyal American citizens, for example, I'll speak for America. I can't speak for Germany. You guys can speak for Germany. I can't. The most loyal citizens to the United States are sometimes the most harsh critics of United States policies or United States tendencies or the direction in which its society is going. But that's part of the beauty of the country, is that you can speak about that. You can debate the ideas. You can bring them into the battlefield of ideas, And the dhikr of Allah has to enter every space. وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. An example of this, it's rather controversial, but still I think you should know. For example, one thing that's happening in the United States that may not be happening in Europe as much, and I don't want to hear any questions about it in the QA. None. There's a lot of, for example, new gender identity politics and LGBT and homosexuality and much beyond homosexuality, gender identity itself, being taught at children's schools, children's books, pushing this kind of an agenda. And in the United States, Allah told us in the Quran, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. Cooperate in good things. Cooperate in taqwa. So, on your own time, I want you guys to search what's happening in the school systems, the public school systems in Michigan, in the state of Michigan, or in Detroit or surrounding areas in the United States. Michigan has a very old, very seasoned Muslim population, community, that's been there arguably since the 50s. Some of them, so they've been there a long time. And of course, they have a very devout Christian community, Jewish community. They all live side by side. And on this issue, the Muslim community, the Jewish community, the Christian community have the same position on this issue. And they're fighting tooth and nail at the school districts together for this cause, for their children. You understand? We have a view, and this is what we believe, and we're going to stand for it. And there are others, Allah says for us to cooperate with the people of the book in good things and in matters of taqwa. And this is one of those things. So they're cooperating and they're standing tall. I don't know how things work here, and that's not my place to know. But I will tell you that wherever the dhikr of Allah can enter, it must enter. It must enter. This is the principle of this ayah is religion is not relegated to the house of worship. The religion is now inspiring the outside, you know. And when you say, well, we don't want to bring religion at all, or your personal religious values at all, what are those religious values that are so extreme? We know we have misconceptions about what religion means. The Muslims, our fundamental values are human integrity. It's a fundamental human value, integrity. Every person deserves respect. No one should be treated less because of the color of their skin or the origin of their country, because they're all children of Adam alayhi salam. Don't we believe in all of humanity coming from Adam alayhi salam? As a result of that, doesn't it become logical that all human beings are genetically equal? Which means there's no race that's superior to any other race. Which means if there's any racism against us or against any other nation, any other group, any other religion, then we stand against it. That's our dhikr of Allah in that space. So وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا is not just about us and our personal. Like jokingly, I sometimes say, okay, so if you're a student and you have a final exam at 4 p.m. and Salatul Jumu'ah is at 1 p.m., then of course after Salatul Jumu'ah you'll be doing a lot of dhikr of Allah, right? Because you're not ready for the exam. So وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ, so you can succeed. But Allah is actually giving us a principle here. No nation will succeed if their actions and their transactions, their businesses, their dealings, their family dealings, if they are removed, those dealings are stripped from the remembrance of Allah. If Allah is not part of those conversations and those ethics and those value systems, then those nations will never ever be able to succeed. They may have some rise, like the pharaohs had a rise, but they'll have a crash. They cannot sustain that. Allah says, لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ, so that all of you may attain success. Real harvest. Which is also really incredible because previously we were told, لَمَّا يَلْحَقُوا بِهِمْ. Remember what I said about lahiqa? It's the next season's fruit. Remember? So every ummah is the next season's fruit. And now the word tuflihun, which means to harvest the next season. Right? So you may attain success, meaning the fruit of your labor. This is actually a really beautiful religion. It brings beauty to every aspect of your life. Every part of your deen. You know, Sheikh Jamal Zarabozo, some of you might be familiar with who he is. He tells a remarkable story, actually, of actually not just him. It was Gerald Dirks, who was a deacon, who was a Christian preacher in Colorado. Thousands of people used to listen to his sermons, thousands and thousands. And he went to buy some groceries from an Arab grocery store. And they put weight on one side and they put the meat on the other side, right? So they put the meat, but the grocery store owner put 5% extra meat. He said, "Why are you doing that? You don't have to put extra." He goes, No, the scale may be wrong and it could be 5% off. So I want to give you, it could be up to 2% off, but I need to give you 5% extra. And he said, well, the state, because he knew some of the regulations, he told them, the state of Colorado, you have 2%, 3% margin of error. He goes, yeah, but I can't answer my God like that. I have to answer Allah on Judgment Day. And he goes, what is this? Why is he acting like this in a store? Religion stays in the church. Religion stays in the mosque. Why is it coming into the store? This is وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. وَزِنُوا بِالْقِسْطَاسِ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ ذَلِكَ خَيْرٌ وَأَحْسَنُ تَأْوِيلًا. Weigh people with the balanced scale. That is better, and better in the long run. You know, this idea of when you have dhikr, you become people of qist, you become people of justice. You're going to fulfill your project at work. You're not going to bill extra hours because you can. You will let your management know, I'm finished with the project. I shouldn't be getting paid for work that I'm not doing. You let them know honestly, because وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. You're not going to, your parents are paying for your college education or whatever, and you're going and skipping classes. You're not just cheating your parents, you're violating a principle, you're violating the uqud. You're not going to do it because وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. Even when you're stopped at a red light and there's no camera, and there's no other traffic, you're not going to go because you made an agreement when you got your license that you're going to abide by traffic laws. So, and because Allah says, fulfill all contract agreements, you're not going to cut the red light because وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. This starts affecting what kind of citizen I am, what kind of professional I am, what kind of family man I am, what kind of wife I am, what kind of husband I am, what kind of daughter, what kind of son, what kind of brother, what kind of sister. All of it. وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. You know what you find? People say, oh, we don't like European secularism. We don't like religion being cut off and they're forcing this on. Yeah, I don't like it either. But you know what? We have our own kinds of secularism. You know what kind of secularism we have? Islam belongs in Ramadan. Islam belongs in the masjid. Islam belongs in the Islamic halaqah. But the moment you're going to have a conversation with your wife or your husband, or when you have a conversation with your parents, or when you have conversations about money, then all the adab of Islam, all the akhlaq of Islam, all the lessons about not doing ghiba or backbiting or humazatin, lumazatin, or alladhi jama'a malan wa addada, or all of that's gone. All of it's gone. The way you can talk about this one or that one or the other one, Allah says, وَتَحْسَبُونَهُ هَيِّنًا وَهُوَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ عَظِيمٌ. You think you're talking about something small? It's huge with Allah. It's huge. But you know what? No. I'm just saying. What do you mean I'm just saying? Isn't this secular? Isn't secularism to keep religion in some places and not in other places? Isn't that what that is? أَفَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْضِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْضٍ. Isn't that what that is? The ayah is so powerful because it takes the strongest, act of worship in the week, the biggest communal act of worship. Not everybody might get a chance to go to Hajj. It's possible. But everybody will attend Jumu'ah. That's our communal worship together. And now from us being together, we spread out and we take the dhikr of Allah with us in everything that we do. In every place. This is Allah's design for how the deen of Allah will spread. There are many places in the world, you know how deen spread? It didn't even spread through da'wah. It spread through the way Muslims do business. You know that? Millions of people became Muslim because of the way Muslims conduct themselves. Because of the way Muslims treated people. Because of how honest they were with their dealings. That was فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَابْتَغُوا مِنْ فَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. And then you understand what happened earlier on in the surah when Allah said, others haven't joined them yet. Remember? Now we learn how are others going to join? Because you're going to come, you're going to get the ayat of Allah, you're going to spread out, they're going to see the goodness that you have, and they're going to say, I want some of that. How come I don't have that? However, there was one fellow I knew, he was actually German. I watched his story, then I got in touch with him later about him and his wife. He was he was a trainer in a gym. He was a fitness trainer. And all his clients were men and women. You know how men and women are in the gym, right? And there was this woman in the gym who she worked there, and he never looked at her. He never looked at any woman. He just didn't look. She's like, how do you do that? Why do you not look? And he's like, I have no reason to look. And he's just looking at us. I have no reason to look. And he's working there, but he's keeping himself guarded. What is this? Because for some women, not all women, some women, they're offended that they're not being looked at. If I don't look at a guy, he doesn't say, hey, how come you didn't look at me? He didn't get offended. Actually, he might get offended if I look at it. What you looking at, bro? It's the other way. But she got offended. Well, how come you're not looking at me? Why are you looking at me? And he's not looking at her. And actually, she started looking into the religion, and he taught her some things about the religion without looking at her. She accepted Islam. They got married. Look at that. But the cool thing there, you know what that is? Did he preach? Did he preach the religion? Did he ask her to accept Islam? Did he do any of that? No, he was just living the dhikr of Allah. That's it. That's all he was doing. And then that was enough. That was enough. I'll leave you, before I close, inshallah, I'll give you one quick story of how this leads to success. In this, for us, it leads other people to success. And other people finding the deen through us will add to our sadaqah jariyah, isn't it? I had a young man today remind me of a story. So I'll share that with you because it's related to this. It was someone I met in New York who, this guy is like not religious. Okay, he's Guyanese. And the Guyanese people, some of them are very devout religious. Some people, they just have Islam by name, but they don't really practice it at all, right? And he was one of those guys, right? Drinking, clubbing, all of it. And he and his girlfriend lived together for a long time. Then they decided to get married, and they're married. And then later on, and she's Christian. His girlfriend is Christian. He married a Christian lady. And then he kind of became religious. He found Islam. He starts praying again and all of that stuff. And his wife, who's Christian, is freaking out. Like, what are you doing? You're becoming an extremist. Are you joining ISIS? Are you doing this? Are you doing like she was freaking out over his religion. And he came to the Imam. How do I give her da'wah? I keep proving to her that 3 is not 1 and 1 is not 3. You know, I keep talking about the Trinity and she's not listening and she gets even more angry. And he got good advice from someone that told him, stop preaching the religion. Just be the kind of husband the Prophet was, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Just do that. Be the kind of father that he was. Study what kind of husband was he. Study what kind of father was he. That's it. So what does he start doing? When he gets really upset, instead of raising his voice, he becomes quiet. Because the Prophet ﷺ, when he was really upset, what would he do? He'd become quiet. And he would be extra kind with his kids. And he controlled his temper. And he never spoke bad words. And his behavior started changing. And he started living khayrukum khayrukum li ahli. The best of you are the ones that are the best to their family. So he's giving his wife gifts that are like for no reason at all, because he's grateful for everything that she does and does things for her and helps her around the house and starts doing things that any hadith he finds of the Prophet ﷺ that he used to help around the house, or he used to do this, or he used to acknowledge this and do that. He starts doing all of that, right? And she, one day, without telling him, without warning, he was at home praying Maghrib, and she just stood next to him. He started praying Maghrib next to him. He didn't say anything. Like, he's super happy in the salah, but he didn't say anything. He just prayed, and she just prayed. And then he prayed some more, and she prayed some more. And they didn't really talk about it. And she just eased into Islam. She just eased into it. There was no debate. There was no Bible versus Quran. There was nothing. There was no what about Jesus? Nothing. She just eased into Islam. From what? From what? Living dhikr. That's living dhikr. So this is what actually transformed the world. What do these people have that I want? They saw something in us that they don't see in anybody else, and that's what made them want to become Muslim. Now, we have reversed the equation. We flipped the script. So now we go to a non-Muslim country, we see clean streets. We see people treating each other with respect. We see honesty and dignity and character. Then you say, I want to go to the homelands of Islam because I want to save my iman. And then you're going to go there, you're going to spend a little bit of time there, and you're going to see stuff. And some places in the Muslim world are very inspiring, I'll be honest with you. Some places, oh man, how could this be that religion? And why would someone see this and say, yep, I want to be a part of this? This is what I want to sign up for. This is the good life, you know? This is why Allah gave us this instruction. Take inspiration from your religion, take inspiration from your book, and then live it outside. وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. We have one ayah left of the surah, inshallah. We'll cover that tomorrow. So I'll open it up for your Q&A. Please don't ask me hard questions. You guys have such hard questions.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. There are almost 50,000 students around the world that are interested, on top of the students we have, in studying the Quran and its meanings and being able to learn that and share that with family and friends. And they need sponsorships, which is not very expensive. So if you can help sponsor students on Bayyinah TV, please do so and visit our sponsorship page. I appreciate it so much and pray that Allah gives our mission success and we're able to share the meanings of the Quran and the beauty of it the the world over.